Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Digital by Attention Media. Today on the podcast, we are talking all things how to maximize your social media. We've got our creative producer and social media manager, Ludi, into the studio, and we are going to talk around how to make sure that what you're doing on social media, the time that you're investing into it, gets you the best results possible on the other side. Stay tuned. That episode is up next. Welcome to Digital, a podcast brought to you by Attention Media, a location-agnostic digital growth agency helping businesses become iconic brands. On this show, we dive into the hottest topics, the latest updates, and what's working in social media and digital marketing right now to get you up to speed and keep you informed. And if you want to grow your business through strategic digital marketing, head over to attentionmedia.com.au, click on the Book a Discovery Call tab, fill out some details, and we'll be in touch. We'd also love to know if you're listening to this show. So please take a screenshot, upload it to your preferred social media account, and tag us at Attention Media Agency. Let's get into the show. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode. Today, I have our creative producer, Ludi, in the studio, and we are going to be talking all things how to maximize your social media presence. So, mate, thanks for coming in and having a chat.
Yeah, no worries.
Beautiful. Mate, what we want to do, and I think we'd love to get some feedback from everybody listening as well in terms of bite-size, snackable podcasts or kind of long-form versions that are filled with a whole lot of information. So if you are listening, if you are watching the podcast, we love that feedback. Let us know whether you prefer shorter episodes, really snackable stuff that you can just consume quickly and go and implement, or whether you prefer the longer style podcasts where we really go a little bit deeper, I suppose, talk about a whole range of topics and generally have a bit of a chit chat back and forth. So today's episode is going to be one of those snackable bite-size episodes. And we're going to talk, obviously, all things social media. So Ludi, as our creative producer and social media manager at the moment, mate, you've got a lot going on.
Yeah, a few titles under my name at the moment.
It's all happening. But basically, we thought that, again, 2021, let's just bring it back and have a quick conversation around which social media platforms are best for your business, and then how to go about creating content for those platforms, optimizing that content, and in general, just staying up to date with what's happening in social media. Yeah. Awesome. So, mate, let's kick things off. Which apps, if let's play devil's advocate, I'm the business owner, right? Which sort of apps, social media platforms are best for my business? Like, where do we start? Where do I start?
Well, first of all, it's sort of where the main point you could argue is, where do you want to start? Like, what is your business aiming? I suppose if you're looking more into that mixed generation, you could probably go for the Facebook. You got a bit more of an older demographic as well as that younger. And let's be real, Facebook is always integrating things that other apps have. Like you take stories or you take all these things that they're always keeping up. So Facebook's always a relevant one to have.
They're kind of like the jack of all trades.
Yes.
They have a bit of everything.
For sort of that older demographic, but more that business personalized one, I'd probably say LinkedIn's probably your best. Yeah, always try to connect and make new connections, and
it's on fire at the moment in terms of like organic reach as well, right?
Yeah.
Like it's starting to ease off a little bit. Probably 6 months ago things were crazy. People were getting the type of organic reach that we haven't seen in a very, very long time. Like, early days Facebook type organic reach, but more and more people have gravitated to that platform. Marketers are doing more on that platform.
Well, I was actually saying to someone the other day, like on the weekend, I was sort of just like, we were going on about TikTok and the rest of it, and I said, I've actually been like, I've totally ignored TikTok this whole time. Like I use it like a small percentage. I said, at the moment, I'm jumping right onto LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn, I've just, like, it's nearly every day.
And what for like, are you like trying to find, business opportunities, or is it more just about like increasing your network? Like, what's the main sort of purpose?
It's more so network. I've sort of lost touch with a few uni mates. There's currently, the other week, I connected with this guy that I met back in Los Angeles a couple of years ago. So I was connected with him, had a bit of a chit chat, see where they were at, and yeah, it's pretty good.
Excellent. I like it. So let's bring it back. If we're talking, what social media platform should I be on for my business? Facebook is basically, it's one of those platforms where it pretty much covers everything in terms of the fact that, it's got 2.4 billion monthly active users. Almost, anybody that you can reach on social media has a Facebook account of some kind, and then it's also connected to Instagram. So generally speaking, unless you just don't want to be on Facebook, it's a really good place to start. Yeah. Instagram, owned by Facebook. What's sort of the difference with Instagram compared to Facebook?
I'd more so say Instagram's more personalized than your generic Facebook. Facebook, you can sort of, like we said before, jack of all trades, you can get away. Whereas I tend to find a lot of people will not so much market on like Instagram. They more use it for more like their
for
own
personal reasons. Yeah, 100%.
And it's more that younger demographic that take on that.
Yes.
That market, whereas where it is a good platform in itself to be advertising on, because most people are on their phones.
I think we can kind of break it down a little bit with, Facebook being the more established platform. It has aged up, right? So, nowadays, people's mum and dad have a Facebook profile, right? Their grandma has a Facebook profile, right? Whereas Instagram is continuing to age up as well, right? The same trend happens over and over. Funny that. But Instagram still a slightly younger demographic overall than Facebook. With stories, with reels, with the types of content that's on Instagram as well, the type of content that they are giving more organic reach to at the moment, it's definitely kind of at the moment, a younger person's game, right? Younger people are having more fun creating reels. Businesses and brands are doing a really good job at creating reels as well. But again, it's just the features on the platform
are more targeted for that younger.
Exactly, 100%. All right, so we've also touched on LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn for the more professional network. We're talking about catching up with people in a professional sense who we may have known previously in our career, like you just mentioned. It's also a really, really fantastic platform for things like recruiting, for headhunting and bringing new talent into your business, scoping out people in their career environment. So there's obviously a number of businesses or brands that would be most suited to be on LinkedIn and marketing in LinkedIn. But we also do a lot of work with company pages on LinkedIn too, don't we? And what kind of benefit do you think businesses can get from having that company page profile?
I think it's just more exposure to the business.
Yep. Having a presence. Yep.
I think that's always a good thing because sometimes, like I said, Facebook, Instagram isn't sort of that market. It's more you want to look professional. You don't want to look like, I'm just trying to set up like your mum's Facebook page type of situation.
Exactly.
Then again, you can say that, but then it works on those platforms as well. It's just sort of, whatever the demographic target you're looking for, I suppose.
Golden rule too, I think, to always remember is that you have to test and measure. Like just because one business or brand or individual does something and it works well doesn't mean that it's going to work the same for you, right?
Exactly.
So
it's the same with platforms. It's
100%.
It's whatever platform sort of works.
Love that. What other platforms we've got? We've mentioned TikTok. What kind of again, still younger demographic, but it continues to age up. More people get interested. They're like, I'll try it. I'll have a go. And Snapchat's probably the same as well.
Yeah, they're sort of the two newer of the market. Sort of see where they will head in the next couple of years. But at the moment, I think TikTok's been more successful at this point in time.
And Snapchat definitely pushing things in the e-commerce and advertising side of the game as well, right? They're doing a lot of work, a lot of investment in their ads platform, and there's some really good results to be achieved from that because there's not as much competition on Snapchat advertising as compared to Facebook advertising, for example.
Yes.
Yeah. So look at where the opportunities lie as well. Then there's other platforms out there like Pinterest, for example, which really flies under the radar, but has a big user base. Again, e-commerce advertising like Pinterest ads also becoming very, very successful and getting really good results for particular types of businesses as well. So there's lots of different platforms out there, and a lot of the time you're able to find success on multiple platforms. It's not kind of like what's the one platform, that's it, that's the best platform for me. It's like how can I get
exposed to every
exactly
single
that's it
platform you can.
100%. All right, so shifting from actual platforms over to different types of scheduling apps and batching content, right? So we've picked our social media platforms. Now it's time to start putting content out there. What sort of tips have you got around different scheduling apps, for example?
Scheduling apps are a very great way to batch out your content.
Yep.
If you're struggling, like here at the agency, sometimes we find that we just can't get everything out in time.
Yep.
Or in a quick session. So, yeah.
I think we talk to a lot of business owners who are not even aware that like scheduling platforms exist, right? Like they're
awesome.
always trying to just post natively to the platform, and they're burnt out because they're like, having to post on the spot, or you get to the end of the day and I haven't put post up. So it's a great way to be able to batch your workload, make sure that you have consistent content going out, and not be completely burnt out or overwhelmed at the same time. Let's name a couple of our favourite scheduling apps.
Here at the agency we use Falcon. That's great.
Big shout out to Falcon.io if you want to check them out.
So you got Buffer, OneUp. There's plenty of them.
Yep.
Just sort of.
And again, like they all come with, they're very similar to social media platforms where they all come with, different price points, different, levels or extra things that you can tack onto the platform depending on how big your business is, how many users that you might have involved in your social media, et cetera, and so forth. So take a look. We definitely recommend Falcon. It is much more probably on the enterprise end of things, on the enterprise scale. But again, there's Buffer, there is OneUp, there's Sprout Social, there's a whole range, Hootsuite as well. There's a whole range of different platforms out there. Even, what about Facebook Creator Studio?
Yeah, that's really under the radar. Like I tend to forget about it. Just because I'm not on it as often as what I am with Falcon, but I do. Like when I do need to be on it, it's really good.
And it's a free platform.
Exactly.
Free platform. Check out, if you aren't aware of it, if you want a social media scheduling platform, obviously it only works with Facebook and Instagram, but Facebook Creator Studio. Jump on, Google that. You can access it via your account and it will help you schedule all that content and take a lot of the stress out of it. Reusing old content. Talk to us about that.
Reusing old content. I suppose, like as I was saying before, finding time, creating things. As long as you're making that repurposed content like relatable to something that could happen in 6 months' time, you can always just find a way to loop it back into the business.
If it's an evergreen type of piece of content, 100%. I think one thing that people kind of fall down is that they think that because they've posted it once, everybody's seen it, and if they post it again, it's going to be too much. Yeah. But in reality, you only have a very small percentage of people that would have seen it the first time around. So by all means, definitely work into your social media strategy a repurposing strategy, or reposting content on a regular sort of basis, because the majority of your audience, regardless of whether it's big or small, is not going to see everything that you publish. So really key point there. And that also helps reduce the pressure of constantly creating new content as well. Over time, you're going to have a bit of a library of content, and you can start repurposing the old content as long as it is still relevant, as long as it's evergreen. And that really helps. Mate, this is definitely something in your wheelhouse. Talk to us about mobile first content.
So
what does mobile first mean?
So mobile first is obviously content that you create for your mobile device. So you want to be shooting it in obviously portrait mode.
Yep.
That's obviously going to get your best. What would be the word?
The best viewing experience.
Yeah, that would be the one. So it'd be obviously your 1920 by 1080, I believe it is vertical. And
everybody who's sitting at home thinking, damn, what do I do with my DSLR camera? How can you quickly shoot portrait content?
If you've got a tripod that can obviously have the ball pin to turn it to the side, that's obviously a great way. Otherwise,
just flip your camera.
Otherwise, if you're going handheld, just flip your camera, or even your phone. Great tool.
Yeah, 100%.
That's always a good one. You don't need an expensive camera to shoot.
100%. Shoot vertical footage. And we probably need to mention, like, the reasoning behind that is not just because when you create your social media content, you shoot it vertical, so it takes up the full width of the screen, the full length of the screen, I should say. Not only does it make it, look more native and, it's a better user experience.
But the algorithm picks it up too.
Exactly. The algorithms know the sizing of the content that you're publishing. And if you're publishing landscape footage, like, typical YouTube style footage into your stories.
You see it all the time on TikTok. Yeah, there's a lot of landscape stuff on there. I suppose some people either want it to go that way or they just don't stretch out their content. Like, I know some people will just rip video straight from YouTube and put it on there.
Exactly.
They could nearly even just buff it up.
Yep,
and grab
100%.
the important stuff.
Lots of ways to kind of get around it in post production, but they're probably the two main points, right? Is to make sure that it's a great user experience, and you've got vertical footage in there, but also the fact that the algorithm knows whether you've gone to the effort of making sure that footage is mobile first, and it will often, generally, always push that content further, give you more organic reach. On the organic side of things, on the paid side of things, it will also help to reduce your cost and increase the performance because it is mobile first.
Well, I suppose that's something that we should be even looking at for obviously our micro content for digital, because we're always posting in the landscape, but I suppose we've got our text and our topic at the top and tail, but
and
we should be more focusing on that.
Vertical content. And there's also, if you look at, Snapchat advertising in particular, if you have, they call it boxing, where at the top and the bottom of the screen, you'll have, a black space and the video sitting in the middle. You can't actually get your ads approved to run on a platform like Snapchat because it's not mobile first. So there's a whole, advertising platform built around the fact that you need to create content that is mobile first. That's a big one. Now, in terms of keeping up with all of the changes that's happening in social media, have you got some tips for us there? What can we do?
Well, I mean, you could get on social media. That's a start.
Definitely.
But yeah, there's plenty of resources. Just jump onto Google. There's plenty of stuff on Google. Social media today is probably one of my favorites.
Yes. Yep.
Always see things on there. And
head to Social Media Today, and that's literally a platform dedicated to all of the latest updates on social media. That's a good one.
YouTube, great way. Follow the right people.
Yep. What about something like closer to home, like here at AttentionMedia?
So we've got our own. It's not really a podcast. It's more of a live stream show.
Yes.
So we do a weekly show, which is every Tuesday, where we talk everything social media.
All the latest updates. So stay tuned to Attention Media socials if you want to know what is happening in social media today. Mate, how about that? Do you think we've covered everything?
I hope so.
Short and sweet. So we've talked about our social media platforms, which ones are best suited. We've talked about creating content that is mobile first, and really it's worth the investment in perhaps learning a few extra things when it comes to editing your content, because the time that you put into that, you're going to be rewarded with a better performance in terms of reach or results from your advertising when you do create mobile first content. So definitely worth it. And stay tuned to Attention Media socials, to platforms like Social Media Today, any of the top social media influencers and experts out there. There's lots of businesses and brands doing great things when it comes to social media, and just staying across some of their content will help you stay up to date as well. So, mate, thanks for joining us on this podcast. Appreciate it.
Too easy. Hopefully see you again not too...
We'll be back on very soon, mate. Sounds good.
Catch ya.
So that's it for another episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. As we mentioned, we'd love to get your thoughts and feedback on this episode. You can do that by heading over to our Instagram at Attention Media Agency and letting us know what your thoughts. Send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. We'd also love to know what you'd like us to talk about in upcoming episodes. So send us your topic ideas. We are always interested. And if you'd love to know more, head over to the website attentionmedia.com.au. That's all for now. We'll see you in the next episode.